So what am I going to do today? I have to do a few things. I want to drop the light pole that's behind the tower because I put an additional pulley on the pole and I want to put it up towards the top, and I want to check all the wiring on the lights and everything up there to make sure everything's okay before I put it back up. So we're going to take care of that, and then I'm pretty well set as far as it goes for working on the towers. The only other thing I may end up doing is, which I want to do before winter, is on the little tower that's here on the roof. I want to take off the 2-meter 440 antenna because it does have an SWR issue, even though it's new. It's MFJ, that's the name of the company, and I don't particularly care for them. I should have never bought it to start with, but I figured I'd give it a try. But anyway, I got to take that down and put a new antenna up there, which is a 2-meter 440. So that's about it. Other than that, I'm not going to do any more because I want to put up a beam on the main tower, the big tower, but that's going to cost a few bucks. You know, by the time I'm done with the beam and the rotor, I can very easily, well, without a bat of an eye, spend $1,500, and that would be the cheap way out. Some of these beams can cost you as much as $5,000–6,000, and the rotor the same. So I mean, you can definitely spend a lot of money. Now, I'm not looking to talk to Mars. However, I can't speak Martian anyway. But it's one of those things to where I want to have something that's better than what I have, you know, in an omnidirection, which is the vertical, and the long wire I just put up. The beam is more directional, so I can turn it to certain people and eliminate a lot of bullshit off the side, and you know, and more or less pinpoint who I want to talk to or listen to. So I've been looking at a few, and I've been going through them on the internet with you guys and things, and I've been finding a couple that are actually not bad, and they're ranging anywhere from $600 to $1,200, and then the rotor anywhere from $300 to maybe $500. But I thought, you know what, for this year I don't really need to do any more, nor do I need to spend any more money like that foolishly. It's a hobby, I enjoy it, but you know, I can enjoy what I have for now without spending more money. And you know, seeing that it's getting close to winter, the tower being up through the winter without something on it isn't going to hurt. If anything, it's just going to let me know that that tower is going to survive a winter. So I don't have to put an antenna up there to find out the tower is going to come down in a good storm and destroy thousands of dollars worth of antenna systems. So I decided I'm going to wait until next summer before I do any more, other than that little antenna that I'm talking about up here. And so I got to get that done today. I want to get some things done out there, and then I want to look at that heat exchanger and work on that a little bit and do a little modifications on it and get that ready. I want to work on the top so that part of the top will also be a cooker, because for instance, you know, I mean, everybody's using these Dutch ovens, and we have one. You know, I've used it a few times, but you know, for the most part it sits there. Well, when I'm out here in the wintertime, you know, heating this place up, I could be cooking a roast on the top of the heat exchanger in the Dutch oven, because it gets hot. I'm telling you, you know, I mean, hot. It'll bring it to a boil relatively quickly. So I'm going to get some brick, and I'm going to build a little enclosure on top of that. Just one big enough to put, you know, a couple of pots in, or an old percolator coffee pot if I feel like some perk coffee instead of the drip, you know, stuff like that. But that's about it. So I want to get that looked at a little bit. I got to draw up some plans. There was a YouTuber out there that gave me an idea, and it makes sense. That I was telling you guys earlier that last year I really don't get any heat flow coming in through the heat exchanger unless I put a fan on it. And the way that I have the duct coming in, or even then the way the duct was coming in, heat rises, so the heat should have came right in. It was coming up to the point to where if you were sitting right next to it within 4 or 5 inches, it would burn the crap out of you. But if you were 2 feet away from it, you didn't know it was even heat coming out of it. So I had to put that fan on there that you guys seen. And it burns them up after a while. So I'm going to end up replacing fans about every 4 months. But somebody had given me an idea saying that if I open the door, I get a little bit more heat coming out of that thing. You feel it coming out, which means, you know, it's kind of tight in here. So the guy on the internet, and I forgot his channel, but he's on one of them that if you were looking at my heat exchanger, you'll see him out there. He has said a vent. Well, you know, that makes sense to me. Because if I have a vent, now the vent doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, for what I'm doing here, need to be as big as, because you like to have a proper amount of air movement. So whatever comes in has to be able to get out naturally. It's like, you know, running 12-volt system or power. You know, you have your hot and your ground. Well, your ground wire has to be the same size, if not bigger, than your hot wire, because if not, you know, it's going to just back up on you and you're going to have problems. So, but what I'm thinking of doing is, I've got a fan out there hooked up on the outside when I was trying to push air instead of pull air. So what I'm thinking of doing is drilling a hole, maybe a 3-inch hole, running PVC pipe. I don't have to run anything special for it because it's only a return. Running PVC pipe down the outer wall across the top of the exchanger so everything is nice and neat, and bring it so that it goes into the intake of the fan, because the fan has that little squirrel cage side, so I can just put it right up against it and it'll suck that air out, which will be sucking air out of here, pushing it back into the heat box, recirculating it, and bringing it back out the vent, which is down here under the counter. So that all makes sense. So what I want to do is I want to get some measurements. I want to do a little work on it. I was thinking about putting a hot water system in it, you know, as far as it goes for heat, baseboard heat, hot water, with a circulating pump. So I want to find a circulator pump. I have a good size automobile radiator that I feel will work, so I can fill that up with a 50-50 mixture so it doesn't freeze and it's not going to boil away on me. You know, fill it up, seal the unit, and I should be pretty well all set. I will put a little vent so I can, you know, get the air out of the line as I'm filling it. But other than that, that's what I plan on doing today. Just a lot of figuring out what's going to happen, you know, over the next month or so, because once the trees start to turn, like Matt had said, he's starting to gear up. I start gearing up once I see the leaves start to change, you know, for the winter, and that usually gives me, you know, like I say, about another 6 weeks. So I'm thinking probably within the next 2 months, the leaves are going to start to turn. There goes my eastbound. Yeah. So yeah, I figure I can putz around a little bit now and still have plenty of time. Enjoy a little bit of the yard, enjoy a little bit of the radio. But you know what I enjoy most? Coming out here and doing things, you know, working basically. You know, working at my own pace. That's what I enjoy most, coming out here You know, if I want to make something, I make it. If I want to climb up on the roof, if I want to paint the house, you know, whatever it is I want to do, I do. I do just enough to keep me active. You know, I don't want to grow old and, you know, end up with all kinds of aches and pains. I mean, I have them, but, you know, I believe the more active I stay, the less I'll freeze up or lock up on me. So that's where we're at. So I'll bring you along on a little bit of my adventures today. I won't bore you too much with them, but that's what's going on today.